Welcome to the Golden Playbook. Today we are drafting another early best ball team over on DraftKings. No gimmicks, no self-imposed rules today. We are just drafting the best possible team we can create, and we're doing it out of the 12 slot. We have the turn, and I actually quite like the turn. You can get, two really solid players in the first two rounds. And then I just love having two picks back to back, so I don't have to choose between two guys. I just get to take them both then and there. If you yourself are bored or craving a little fantasy football action in the end of February, head on over to DraftKings. They have little $1 contests, so with real cash prizes. So you can actually draft fantasy teams for real money. If you are kind of a sicko like me and you just are fantasy football all the time, head on over to DraftKings, and they literally have $1 contests for you to jump into. So we are in the 12 slot. Nobody I really recognize in this draft. All right, we are 2 picks away, a fairly chalky first round so far. Bijan, Puka, Gibbs, Chase, McCaffrey over JSN, JT, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra, St. Brown. So fairly chalky so far. Hopefully we get a couple guys. If Devon Achane falls to us, that would be real exciting. A lot of guys are letting the draft clock run all the way down, which is super annoying, especially with that 30-second timer. It's really taking a long time to do this first round. That's the one thing between Underdog and DraftKings. Underdog has that 20-second timer, which makes a surprising amount of difference. These DraftKings drafts take quite some time. So we are just going to grab Achane Jefferson here. Pretty chalky start, but I'm very glad for a full PPR team to be able to get Devon Achane, who I think is just going to be, continue to dominate, continue to be a pass catcher for the Dolphins. And if Jefferson has any improved quarterback play, we just know how good he can be. So Achane Jefferson start, very solid out of the turn. Some news around the league. Kirk Cousins was cut by the Falcons, so we'll see which team picks him up. Maybe the Jets, maybe a little reunion with the Vikings, which would be, fantastic for Justin Jefferson. Zach Charbonnet's ACL surgery was actually done pretty recently, which puts him out a ways, probably week 12 range, they're saying, like a December start. So if that is the case, he is being very, very overdrafted in these best ball drafts. Coming off an ACL that late in the season, pretty much on my do not draft list. Even if they do not re-sign Kenneth Walker, they will sign or draft at least one or two probably solid running backs. And also Javonte Williams signed a 3-year, $24 million extension with the Dallas Cowboys, which solidifies his role on the team as the starting workhorse running back. So I think he should slightly slide up the rankings a little bit, and honestly, I should probably be drafting him a little bit more. I have very, very minimal Javonte Williams shares, so Cowboys believe in him, and he is in Dallas to stay. And through 2 rounds, nothing too crazy. Continues to be running back heavy early. After Jefferson, it went Neighbors, McBride, Hampton, Love, London, Barkley, Chase Brown, Bowers, Derrick Henry, Pickens, and then a little early Josh Allen there. And 1 ball, 2 sacks grabs an early Teteroa McMillan. So definitely making an effort to get a little bit different on the end, which I don't mind, especially, if you are on one of the ends, grabbing someone who is pretty much only drafted on the other side of the board can help you get a unique build. Especially when, a lot of Bijan teams grab the same guys at the turn, like Bijan, or like Pickens rather, Nico, Chris Olave. Those kind of guys are very, very often drafted with Bijan. So grabbing a couple guys that are, drafted with him a lot less often helps you get unique. All right, couple picks away. 3rd round, McMillan, Bucky, Breece Hall, Nico Collins, Rashee Rice, Chris Olave, Kenneth Walker, Josh Jacobs, and T. Higgins. A little surprised Rashee is still up there at that early to mid 3rd. He's basically, potentially having legal trouble. Basically, it's seeming he's either going to be suspended for the full year or not suspended at all. So really a tough decision on Rashee Rice. I'm pretty heavy on him already, so I'm probably going to cool down drafting Rashi. Let's go ahead and grab Etienne and Garrett Wilson. I have a decent amount of A.J. Brown, less Garrett Wilson. So we are banking on our receivers to get much improved quarterback play with Jefferson and Wilson. Perhaps the recently let go Kirk Cousins is one of their quarterbacks. I think that would help, at least for fantasy purposes. But we have a nice, even 2 running back, 2 wide receiver start. I like our start here through 4 rounds. But as I was saying on Rashi, it's boom or bust. It really seems like he's going to, these legal troubles are going to catch up with him, and he's going to miss, the full year, considering he has previous suspension stuff with the NFL, or they're going to let that whole legal situation figure itself out, which probably won't be before this season, and which he plays for the entire season, and he is, probably a solid fantasy wide receiver, but still surprised he is going this early with, this newfound potential of him missing the entire season. And we are through 4 rounds, definitely wide receiver heavy. After Wilson, it went A.J. Brown, Zay Flowers, McConkey, Devonta Smith, Devontae Adams, Cam Scatterbo, Jameson Williams, Ibuka, an interesting early Joe Burrow unstacked pick there. And then we see Javonte Williams goes off at 47. And I think that's probably the appropriate range now signing the extension. He was more of a mid to late 5th round pick. And I think sliding up to late 4th, early 5th is about the appropriate range for Javonte there. And then Judkins finishes off the 4th round. All right, we are a couple picks away here. 5th round went Henderson, Watson, Waddle, Harvey, Parker Washington, where I think he is going a little too early for my blood. Sure, Parker Washington is a good, fine player, but 53 is a little early for Parker Washington. I think the hype has gone a little too far. Terry McLaurin, DeAndre Swift, Carnell Tate, and then Lamar Jackson down at 57, which I think is good value. Obviously, he's leaving a bad taste in our mouth after last season not panning out, but I think that's a good value on Lamar Jackson. And then Luther Burden as well, a nice little value here at 58. So we are 1 pick away. Last guy goes Tyler Warren. So we could do a Rome Caleb Williams stack. We could do Sutton, Daniels, Mekhi Lemon. I think, let's see. Yeah, you know what? I don't have a ton of Rome or Caleb for that matter. So we are just going to do the Chicago thing here. I don't have a lot of Caleb Williams just because I have, I have Jalen Hurts ranked above him personally. So I've been drafting a lot of Jalen Hurts in that range. But we are kind of switching it up on this team. I don't draft a lot of Wilson, Adunze, or Williams. So we are switching it up a little bit. But I like our start through 6. We got A-Chain, Jefferson, Etienne, Garrett Wilson, Rome Odunze, and Caleb Williams. Very solid start. We are probably looking for some tight end points in the next couple of picks, but we will have to see if any ADP values fall to us at the 7-8 turn. And round 6 through 8 are really where we're seeing the bulk of the quarterbacks go off the board. In round 6, it went Fannin, Drake May, BTJ, Jalen Hurts, Sutton, Jaden Daniels, Trevor Lawrence, Stevenson, Marv, Tucker Kraft, and then Michael Wilson. We're seeing this kind of top tier, not the very, very top in Allen and Lamar, but that next tier of guys really kind of going off the board in the 6th. And then some of those more mid-level, mid-tier guys are flying off the boards in round 7 and 8. Just with people drafting 3 quarterbacks. And honestly, it's kind of a dead range for the other positions, in my opinion, at least. People are really gravitating towards grabbing those QBs in that range. And honestly, I've been liking to grab 2 guys in this range. It just feels, better, more rounded for your team, as opposed to forcing one of the running backs or receivers in that range. But that's just my personal opinion thus far. Alrighty, we are a couple picks away here, and I've definitely seen the rookie wide receivers falling a little bit. Tyson and Lemon falling to the beginning of the 7th round. They used to almost always be mid 5th round picks. After those two guys, it went Pitts, Prescott, DK Metcalf, Mike Evans, Jalen Warren, Bishal Tootin, and Justin Herbert. We are a couple picks away, and we shall see who is on the board. After Warren, it really gets pretty thin at running back. It's not my favorite range to draft guys. Let's see. Dart goes ahead of us. So we could do, let's see. We could grab Sam Laporta, a guy who I haven't drafted a ton of. Or let's do a little Ricky Pearsall action. And we're going to grab our QB2 in Brock Purdy, who is honestly a very solid fantasy quarterback. He is running a little bit more, so he's adding that value to him. And when he's on the field, I know he was injured quite a bit last season, but when he's on the field, he just produces fantasy points. So now we have our 2 QB wide receiver stacks. We'll probably wait on QB3 for quite a while. Obviously, we still haven't drafted a tight end, but if you watched my video last week when we waited till the very end on tight end, I still liked how that team turned out. Now, we won't go that extreme in this draft, but it just kind of went to show that, you can kind of wait on tight end a little bit and still feel pretty solid about your squad. And again, we could draft 4 tight ends if need be, but I don't plan on waiting till the very end like we did on last week's video. If you haven't checked that out, go check that video out when you're done watching this guy. And while you're doing that, you might as well smash that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. I do appreciate all the support so far. And we are through the 8th round, and like I said, this is where all of the QBs are going. 13 quarterbacks off the board in rounds 6 through 8. After Purdy, it went Laporta, Pierce, Johnston, Mahomes, Stafford, Monangai, Jared Goff, Bo Nix, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jacoby Myers, and Dalton Kincaid. And really, it makes a lot of sense. Like, would you rather be drafting a quarterback who you know is going to be scoring lots of fantasy points, or would you rather have Kyle Monangai or Quentin Johnston? It's really a dead range for those positions. And so grabbing a guy like Bo Nix, Jared Goff, Patrick Mahomes, guys who are bona fide fantasy, superstars, or at least very good fantasy players, it is very easy to grab quarterback in this range over some of these mid-tier running back wide receivers. All right, we are 1 pick away. Godwin, Price, Mayfield, DJ Moore, Tony Pollard, Shuck, Hubbard, Worthy, Algier, Diggs, and Kittle. And it looks like we had a nice little fall to us with Oronde Gadsden, and he will make a fantastic tight end 1 on this team. And we only have 2 running backs so far, so I think my guy Rico Dowdle will be a very solid addition to the squad. So we now have a 2-3-4-1 going. A-Chain, Jefferson, Etienne, Wilson, Rome Odunze, Caleb Williams, Ricky Pearsall, Brock Purdy, Oronde Gadsden, and Rico Dowdle. As you see, the guy in the 11th slot already has 4 tight ends. So very interesting strategy, no doubt, out of OhBoy089. And we are through the 10th round. After Dowdle, Michael Pittman Jr., Khalil Shakir, Woody Marks, Dallas Goedert, Jordan Love, Sam Darnold, Jaden Reed, Juwan Jennings, who is super underpriced in my opinion. He's a free agent. He's going to get massively paid by some team. Probably not San Fran, but someone is going to pay him. And the nature of the NFL is when you get paid big dollars, the team is going to make an effort to utilize you. He's proven he can be a solid fantasy asset before. I honestly think he should be more of an 8th round pick, more in that Pierce, Johnston, Wan'Dale range. But I still think Jennings is just a very, very good value. David Montgomery, Jalen Coker, and Zach Charbonnet, who, like I said, probably not going to be ready until December. So definitely too early on Zach Charbonnet. He is pretty much on my do not draft list, especially at this current ADP. Charbonnet is off my draft board. Couple picks away here. 11th round, Bryce Young, Brenton Strange, Denzel Boston, JCM, Jake Ferguson, Deebo Samuel, Jordan Addison, Trey Benson. Nice little Kenny Gainwell pick. I think especially in a PPR format, ideal situation for Gainwell. He re-signed with Pittsburgh, and then Aaron Rodgers stays. We saw how well that worked out for him last season, but I think Gainwell is a very solid value, even if he signs with another team, as Higgins and Tracy go off the board. So we have a little fall here with Tyreek, I'm a little less bullish on Tyreek, knowing he has another surgery to get. But we're going to grab rookie Jonah Coleman, add a little youth to our running back room. And then I'm tempted to grab Mendoza, but I think I want to decide between Johnson as our tight end 2 and Casey Concepcion. I think we're just going to grab tight end 2 here, Juwan Johnson. I really still think he's a good value. If you've been watching my videos, I've been kind of in on him pretty much since the beginning of this offseason. So I still think he's a good value, whether you have him paired up with Shuck or not. Very, very solid tight end 2. I mean, we saw just how good that connection was last season. I don't see why anything changes. Even if they add another piece, I think Olave, Juwan, and then whoever they add are going to be, a very strong trio. After Johnson, it went Matthew Golden, Tyjae Spears, Kenyon Sadiq, who has definitely been falling down draft boards, Romeo Doubs, Tyreek Hill, James Conner, a little QB run here, Cam Ward, Mendoza, Stroud, Malik Willis, and Hunter Henry rounding out that 12th round. All right, we are a couple picks away. 13th round going Shaheed, Concepcion, Daniel Jones, Mark Andrews, Jordan Mason, J.K. Dobbins, Emmett Johnson, Travis Kelce, who, if he plays, he is going to, fly up the draft boards at least a couple of rounds. Aaron Jones there. We're a couple picks away. Let's see what we have. We could play the Kyler Murray game as our QB3 behind Williams and Purdy. See what running backs are available. Kamara, Rashad White, Jonathan Brooks. Wide receivers. As Hunter goes there, this really isn't my favorite range for wide receivers. Let's see where the tight ends stand. We are on the clock. Kyler is here, and maybe we should just take Kyler Murray. It's pretty steep fall off after that. And then, let's see. And then, considering it's a PPR site, we already have Juwan Johnson, so we're banking on New Orleans being decent. And not to mention, Alvin Kamara is my OG favorite fantasy football player. I have lots of Alvin Kamara memorabilia. We are going to draft him as our 5th running back. And then we definitely need to hammer some wide receivers. We haven't drafted one since Pearsall. And we have Jefferson, Garrett Wilson, Rome Odunze to add to Pearsall there. So the next turn at the 15-16 should probably be a double tap on wide receivers. I just really didn't love that range, so we'll grab a couple guys, maybe take some shots on some rookies. But I feel very good about our quarterback situation as well as where our running backs are. I think we have a good mix of youth and veteran leadership in our running back room so far. All right, after Kamara, it went Ayuk, Braylon Allen, DK, Jalen McMillan, Kayshon Boutte, AJ Barner, Theo Johnson, Tank Dell, Troy Franklin, Pat Bryant, Nick Singleton. And then Marvin Mims there as well. Nice little run on Denver wide receivers. 3 out of 4 picks, Denver wide receivers. That is, I know they have similar ADPs, but you don't often see them that close. But a lot of wide receivers I don't really care for off the board there. I mean, I think Tank Dell's fine if you want to take a shot on him coming off of injury. I really don't know what to make of Brandon Ayuk. Is he going to play? Does he care at all? I was grabbing him very early on, and then I kind of cooled off. So hopefully there is a couple guys I can convince myself into liking at our picks here at 180. All right, couple picks away. Little tight end run here in the 15th round. After Mims, we went Rashad White, Dalton Schultz, Kamani Vidal, Parkinson, Njoku, Jerry Jeudy, Isaiah Likely, and J.J. McCarthy. Penix goes there. So definitely glad we grabbed Kyler. Although I do like Jonathan Brooks, who is still here. 10 picks past ADP. So maybe I'll do him and call ourselves done at running back. And then we absolutely need a wide receiver here. Ridley, Trey Harris, Omar Cooper Jr. has been getting a ton of hype lately. Let's see. Let's just take a shot on the rookie Omar Cooper Jr. He is, definitely on the hype train, so we're buying him at cost. But if he has a good combine this week, then his price will only go up. So that's a good fifth receiver, but we are probably done at running back with the 6. We'll probably go with a 3-6-8-3, maybe a 3-6. Yeah, probably a 3-6-8-3. We might do 4 tight ends if it makes sense later. Just because tight ends do hit our flex spot more than we care to realize. We like to think, we need a plethora of wide receivers because we're starting 3 of them and then also assuming 1 goes in the flex. But honestly, the tight end goes there, especially in PPR, more than we think. So either 8 wide receivers, 3 tight ends, 7 wide receivers, 4 tight ends. I think that'll be a good grouping of pass catchers. But really like the squad so far. Nice mix of youth and age. It's good so far. All right, we are a few picks away here. A couple guys I like that have gone. Ferguson, who just went, I was hoping would make it to us. I still like Trey Harris, but I've cooled down a little from the early drafts just because Keenan Allen hasn't said whether he'll be back or not. Adonai Mitchell, I think, is probably a solid value, probably the wide receiver 2 on the New York Jets. If they get any semblance of quarterback upgrade, then I think Adonai Mitchell, based on talent alone, could definitely be a great value. So I think if Gunnar Helm is here, which it looks like he is, we'll go ahead and grab Helm as our 3rd tight end. And then in the wide receiver room, we could do Zachariah Branch for another rookie. Let's see what else we can do. Yeah, pretty slim here. Let's go ahead and grab Gunnar Helm. Could grab Cooper Kupp. Let's just go Zachariah Branch. Get another rookie on the board. So now we have a 3-6-6-3. Achan, Jefferson, Etienne Jr., Garrett Wilson, Rome Odunze, Caleb Williams, Ricky Pearsall, Brock Purdy, Rondé Gadsden, Rico Dowdle, Jonah Coleman, Juwan Johnson, Kyler Murray, Alvin Kamara, Jonathan Brooks, Omar Cooper Jr., Gunnar Helm, Zachariah Branch. Got 2 picks to go. Either both will be wide receivers or we'll do a little wide receiver tight end action to finish up our draft. All right, we are a couple picks out. Last couple things here in the final rounds. Probably a sharp Kirk Cousins pick there at the turn being released. He's probably going to have a good chance to be a starting quarterback, at least to start the season. Eli Stowers is a rookie who's really kind of rising up the draft boards a little bit. I think with a solid combine performance, he will go even further. Rodgers, probably a nice, safe QB3. We are 1 pick out. We need some guys who can catch the football on this team. We already have a couple of rookies. Let's see. Do we do a lame one like Mooney or Christian Kirk? This honestly might not be a bad Christian Kirk team just because we do have a couple rookies. Let's see. Let's grab Kirk, and then we're going to take a little swing on a rookie tight end, Justin Jolly, who I think also can do very well for himself at the Combine this week. Finished off with a 3-6-7-4. Let's give a little recap, and we'll get us out of here. Achan, Jefferson, Etienne Jr., Garrett Wilson, Rome Odunze, Caleb Williams, Ricky Pearsall, Brock Purdy, Rondé Gadsden II, Rico Dowdle, Jonah Coleman, Juwan Johnson, Kyler Murray, Alvin Kamara, Jonathan Brooks, Omar Cooper Jr., Gunnar Helm, Zachariah Branch, Christian Kirk, and Justin Jolly. That will do it for today's video. Please smash the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the like button while you're down there. I really appreciate all the love and support. Put down in the comments if you're drafting these DraftKings drafts. And best of luck to you. Take care. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.